Welcome to the complete animation of Jing from Triggerfish Studios' 2021 film SEAL Team. So, Triggerfish Studios is a South African animation studio, and this is their third feature film. Their first one was Adventures in Zambezia, their second one was Kumba, and here's SEAL Team. So the first two, they actually take place in Africa, which, fair enough, they're an African studio. But this one is kind of, it leans more toward American sort of things. It's weird. SEAL Team, it is a callback to the most campy 80s action that ever existed on TV. And the first time I saw this movie, I didn't really appreciate that. But when I came back to rewatch it, I was like, okay, this is exactly what it is. This is just a silly 80s inspired action flick with all the tropes that come with that. And once I came back to it with that in mind, and knowing what I was getting into, I liked it a lot more. This is one of those movies where, yes, I liked it a whole lot more the second time. And another thing that I liked a lot is the animation style. In this day and age of, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish having been out, and also Spider-Verse, people are starting to get more attentive to things like the frame rate of characters and just how characters move. And this movie, while it has not a super unique, visual style, it does do a lot with how it uses the frame rate of how the characters move. A bunch of people don't know this, but characters in 3D animation are keyed frame by frame. It's that's how they make them move. And this movie kind of calls attention to that because a bunch of the character animation is deliberately a bit framey, and I think it's really appealing. Also, this movie is just unique because in the world of animation, when you think of movie set in the ocean, basically the only one is Finding Nemo. That's the ocean animated movie. But SEAL Team actually goes ahead and does that, but it's unique. This movie is nothing like Finding Nemo. It's also nothing like Shark Tale, because whereas Shark Tale had a very strange art style, this one, nobody's gonna look at this and says that it's super strange. It looks good. It's appealing, which is more than a bunch can be said about Shark Tale, because holy cow, Shark Tale has visual issues. But yeah, so this movie has all the tropes. It has, the plucky young hero who had to get his motivation, and what is that motivation? Oh, his best friend got eaten by a shark, and so now he feels personally invested in helping to stop sharks. It's well, if that's not the trope of why the kid joins some sort of military outfit, I don't know what is. And I like the team. I think that Geraldo is awesome because Patrick Warburton, I believe I got that name right, is just awesome. I think his most famous role is Kronk in The Emperor's New Groove, but he has been in a ton of stuff, and I love him as a voice actor. Holy cow. And of course there has to be a tech guy. There has to be the, guy with glasses who is all about the gadgets and whatever, and he makes them himself. That's just how it is. And then there's Beth. She's just the silly character, but she does a really good job with it. And of course, there has to be the gruff, military-ish guy who's the actual leader, who's the veteran of all that. Like, this is the movie of tropes. And then, of course, you have Jing. So, Jing is interesting. Like, it feels like they kind of wanted to channel, sort of Black Widow in vibes with her. Yeah, I just really like how framey the animation is. There's good framiness and bad framiness when it comes to character animation. The bad framiness is when the movie doesn't do it. Like, that's not what the movie is going for, but then there are shots where it happens anyway. Like, that's just the mark of a slice of not great animation. But then there's this movie where every time characters are a little bit jerky with how they move, it's intentional and it always looks good. Like, I don't think that there's any segment of this movie where I look at it and it's like, oh, that shot could have used some more work. I think one of the biggest offenders of that is Blue Sky's Ferdinand. I like Ferdinand, but from the very first time I saw it, there was one particular scene where it just looked bad how the animation was. It's like, wow. Let's see. So SEAL Team is... SEAL Team is right up there with Chicken Hare and the Hamster of Darkness as movies that I am really bummed out about them being bankrolled by Netflix. Because I want to own all of the animated movies. I want to have a physical 4K or at least a 1080p disc of all of them. But guess what? This movie, you can't. The best I can do is just this digital file, which it doesn't have as high a bit rate as a Blu-ray. And while it still leaves it perfectly watchable, I really wish this movie had a physical release because I would buy it. Like, I already bought Kumba, and I'm glad I have it. I don't know if I'll ever make a video about Kumba, so I'll talk a little bit about it right here. Kumba has a mixed bag of a story and a mixed bag of characters. Like, some characters, they work pretty well sometimes, and sometimes they don't. And it's like, in terms of story and characters, Kumba isn't the greatest. But ever since I watched it, it has been on my mind for one reason. It's the landscapes. It's some of the visuals. Like, Kumba inspires something in me with its landscapes and visuals. It really is something special. Unfortunately, there are some characters, like there's this one zebra character who, he just has the most ugly, unappealing face ever, and he has a personality to match. I do like this end credits scene where they give like snippets of the movie and then have a little stylized 2D thing. Thanks for watching.